Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to Devil May Cry 2, where, things are about to get a little bit more Resident Evil than in fact they already are. I mean, again, if the infested tanks and machinery wasn't enough, well, now we have a full-on laboratory, owned by Ouroboros Corporation. So yeah, seems that there are a few elements of Resident Evil 4 that weren't quite excised yet, up to and including elements that would later be in Resident Evil 5. Huh. I mean, again, I did bring up in the review that perhaps, Devil May Cry 2 barely having a chance to have any sort of story mythology to it, that maybe it might have taken some from the original Resident Evil 4 pitch. Again, the whole Tony Redgrave sort of thing, making up the basis of its plot, which would explain why, compared to all the other games in the Devil May Cry series, both what came before and, come after the fact, that it is a little bit more scientific in nature as opposed to, traditional spellcasters and demons sort of thing, but yeah, it's neither here nor there in this case. But we do get a good look at what Arius' operations are like, and indeed, as you explore throughout the facility, you do get to bear witness towards, some of the attempts at creating artificial demons, which, I suppose to put it in layman's terms, is there to sort of explain why a lot of these demons don't tend to have as much, I'm not going to say personality, because that's a bit of a churlish way of putting it, but I'd say they don't have as much autonomy, and that is something that is definitely gonna come into play in regards to cutscenes, right at the end of the part, which revelations are abound, and indeed where we get to see Lucia take center stage as the game's main character, much to everybody's chagrin that Dante sort of gets the shaft, in favor of new character of the week, but I don't know, I mean, both, in Devil May Cry 1, where, again, you could argue that Dante gets his share of the development for, avenging his family and all that, but at the same time, a bit of that development does also go to Trish, who goes from, a completely manipulative, blinded servant for Mundus, who eventually starts gaining feelings and emotions of her own, and learns to respect Dante, and gains a semblance of humanity of her own, because devils never cry. I thumb that's bullshit. But yeah, regardless of such though, Lucia's also getting her fair share of the development, and let us head inside this little cargo plane and see what we can find. Hopefully no Enter the Matrix shenanigans here. Sadly there is no tyrant, as we saw in Code Veronica, so no worry about having to operate a cannon launcher or anything. But what is this? Oh, it is a cranky bomb. The bomb is a little bit cranky today. But yeah, the cranky bomb, they're basically little time release bombs where you either drop them on the floor, wait a few seconds, and then, well, kaboom. Either that or you throw them right at the enemies and, they explode on contact. It's not a very effective weapon, and certainly not one to, get up your stylish ranking, but it does come in rather handy for a specific boss fight much later on in the game, and, it's against the worst boss in the game. Oh yes, if you thought the infested assault chopper was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet. But yeah, I'm gonna be showing off this facility twice, not necessarily in the same video, mind you, but both Dante and Lucia's voyage through it, because both do explore different sectors of the facility during different, times of its activity, but needless to say, Lucia activating the power and overflowing it is gonna lead to some rather, strange happenings, as demonic power is channeled through, human vestiges. What do I mean by this? Well, you will see later, but let's just say, this level, in all its Resident Evil glory, taps into all of its tropes. Bioweapons, facilities, running around, countdown timers, you name it. And I guess it is also sort of worth pointing out about our main villain, Arius, who I don't think you've technically seen just yet, but in terms of what he resembles, I pointed it out in the review, and you will be seeing a little bit later, and though it's not a one-for-one influence, I must stay my tongue. Oh no, I was punished by the evil heart for trying to spoil Arius' appearance. Well, I guess I'll keep my tongue for now and, save his appearance for when we actually see him. In the meantime, however, we have a gimmick that Devil May Cry 3 would later borrow for one of its missions. Well, yes, the Evil Heart. It's gradually draining your health, so you either have to remain in Devil Trigger to keep the equilibrium, or you, well, do as the mission says, and pretty much run all the way towards, the necessary sector of the game, and ensure that, well, yeah, you get rid of the Evil Heart, that will gradually drain your health and kill you. It's funny, I'm trying to remember if Devil May Cry 1 had a similar mission to this, but, the closest one I can really think of is the Melancholy Soul, and that didn't technically kill you, so much as it is just sort of like, you ran out of time and, you pretty much had to do something else to get it back. Yeah, whatever. In any case, so you go down these stairs, you can pretty much destroy some enemies to build up your combo, or, sort of avoid the Spiciers that we fought before, which aren't even technically enemies, they're more explosive hazards than anything else. You take one hit against them or stand close, and then they'll pretty much end up exploding, so, yeah. Watch as they take out your enemies in one simple blast. But unfortunately, you don't get style points for that, so, sadly, no environmental bonuses or penalties to be dictated towards us. Ah, continuity. In any case, so we have yet another little orb capsule there for us to fill our need for delicious, tasty, crystallized demon blood, as it is officially known. And then, of course, we pretty much ascend up the terrain using Aerial Heart for our final power-up, really. Which I pretty much explained what it is, but yeah, that's pretty much the Flame Heart. And as I recall in the game, I don't think they ever technically explain, like, the buffs and power-ups that each of the individual, Devil Trigger amulets really give you. So, yeah, you pretty much sort of have to figure it out for yourself. But again, to once again reiterate, Flame Heart pretty much increases your damage against enemies alongside, using it in tandem with the Offense Heart, which is, pretty much there to give you an additional damage buff when dishing out the pain towards enemies. The Frost Heart is there to pretty much debilitate enemies and slow them down, something that's kind of run a little bit moot later on in the game when we get the Chronos Heart, but, neither here nor there in this case. And the Electro Heart, I think, is meant to speed up your attack power, but really doesn't really seem to add much of anything else, and even that in and of himself, you also get a Quick Heart, as Dante, which you didn't technically see, but that basically increases your speed also, so yeah, I guess each of these individual hearts was sort of there to compensate for, what one character might like when it comes to utilizing certain abilities. It's quite curious, really, but in any case, so, yeah, it wasn't technically turning on the power to this facility that damages it in the end, from what I remember. It's, in fact, the Evil Heart, and yeah, as you're seeing here, demonic experiments. That's, it's quite scary. Yeah, somewhat sadly, if I can comment on, some of the, Devil Trigger amulets, it is a very interesting system, and one that I do kind of wish would return for a future game to at least sort of expand upon its moveset. I mean, again, I suppose that's what a lot of individual weapons are for, and, yeah, as you might be noticing throughout Devil May Cry 2, there was a startling lack of, weapon variety. All you have is pretty much a few swords, and that's pretty much it, but, yeah, I don't know, like, I mean, again, utilizing the Electro Heart or, Flame Heart or Frost Heart, maybe to give you some different attacks depending on which amulet you equip and, them altering your, your sort of basic attack combos. I don't know, maybe that could be quite cool, really. But yeah, as you might have noticed, utilizing the Evil Heart pretty much engages the reactor core, which flooded the place with lava. Now we have more, more of the Goat Clan pretty much interfering with our business, and, yeah, again, like, I mean, the goats are passive enough in terms of their enemy dynamics where you can get a lot of hits on them pretty good, but they do also have a habit of, again, especially when they're in pairs, but they do also have a habit of, getting up in your grill and just getting one stray hit that pretty much spoils the broth that is your, well, your combos. Kind of like that, really, where they do that pretty much like the flip kick going, fuck you. Yeah, it can be a wee bit of a pain in the ass, but, again, that's, what you utilize your Trickster and, rainstorm abilities for, so again, it is there very much to encourage you to utilize too sometimes to, you know, stun enemies, keep them off your back so you can build up your combo, but yeah, everybody else is just focused on, oh yes, well, I mean, it's not difficult, I mean, it's basically a game for babies. But, I mean, yeah, I mean, even in that case, I still don't think that sort of mindset would still save Devil May Cry 2's reputation anyway. Primarily because I wouldn't recommend trying to S-rank this game. You will go fucking insane. Because, I mean, yeah, compared to a lot of other games in the Devil May Cry series, again, I don't want to say that 3 through 5 are easy to S-rank by any stretch, but, again, they're markedly more easier to... well, more easier? No, they're markedly more, mechanically refined enough so that it is a lot easier for you to attain S-ranks in those games as opposed to, well, the first two. I mean, the first one in the sense that you can't really keep your style meter. Again, if you happen to keep idle for like a split second and your ranking disappears. In Devil May Cry 2's case, it's because of, well, again, it requires you to pretty much avoid tanking hits and, well, overall also completing the stage as quick as you possibly can. And, yeah, that's, easier said than done. And yeah, you can't, unfortunately, you can't cheat this little, you know, Sonic Adventure 2 elevator segment where you pretty much have to take out all of these, you know, little insectoids, so... acquiesce, really. Admittedly, it's also a lot easier with Dante, because again, with Ebony and Ivory, you can pretty much just open fire and go crazy on everybody. Fire away, much like his theme song in the game dictates. And as for Lucia, she has the more techno-oriented Wings of the Guardian that you're hearing right now. Or would have been hearing before the techno-ambience took over. Enter the factory. But anyway, one teleportation later, and Lucia is about to meet her destiny, like the elegant secretary she is. That is, actually based on an African bird. Wonder why that is. Well, now it seems Arius also has a secretary of his own. What do you know? Ah, well, I'm sure there's no symbolism or parallels going on right here. Yep, Lucia's gonna kill Arius, save the Vie de Mali, and truly, she will be the champion of the Protectorate people. But yeah, meanwhile, we're also switching back to Dante at this stage, and yeah, well, I do believe that Dante and Lucia pretty much enter the Ouroboros facility at similar times. I did also want to, you know, go for a bit of environment variety since, again, Lucia confronts Arius first and foremost, whereas Dante confronts him a little bit later, so... yeah, that's pretty much something we're going to be saving for next time. That and also to sort of break up the monotony of seeing the same thing twice in one video, really. But yeah, in terms of swords, you might be noticing that all you can really upgrade is their level of power. And, yeah, similar in nature for guns and whatever else, so... yeah, you don't buy moves, and as I mentioned beforehand, your basic combos are pretty much all you have, but again, that's why I did say that, again, you could varietize your combos by equipping certain amulets to get different movesets that take advantage of each of their individual elements as opposed to, you know, tertiary stat buffs such as, you know, increased damage or, you know, stammering the enemy with, you know, Frost Heart slowing them down or whatever. But in any case, though, it's not over yet because we have a boss coming up. Oh yeah. So, ladies and dudes, this is Nephesturus. Basically, the evil tower that, again, like, I mean, it's a real shame that Devil May Cry 2 had the reputation that it did, because it has some really fucking cool boss concepts that, I mean, to be honest, I don't want to say that it eclipses, like, 3 through 5, because again, what they lack in originality, they make up for in fucking, you know, excellence of game mechanics and, you know, enemy dynamics, but, yeah, Nephesturus is another example of some of the behemoth boss fights done right, really. Again, it's a giant fucking tower, and again, while you can't reach it as easily, again, by taking out a lot of its, you know, bat spawn that it launches from its, infested tower, it does allow you to rebuild your Devil Trigger and pretty much get back into the fray. If you get up on top of his head, you can actually deal some massive damage with your sword. And the enemy is nothing to scoff at either. Again, it does have this giant fuck-off laser beam spit attack, or it does have like a multi-spread shot that will quite easily eat up a lot of your health, and, well, be forewarned, because it will start coming back, and, yeah, as you can imagine, with a lot of bats and everything else everywhere, you can build up your ranking quite easily. But it can also be easily taken away from you, so you have to be on your toes and ensure that Dante, well, doesn't get pipped. And yeah, it also has one of the greatest themes in the game, and indeed the overall theme song of Devil May Cry 2, Dance with the Devils, which, yeah, is one of the immediate theme songs that come to mind when I think of the series. Again, if it isn't Public Enemy or Lock and Load from Devil May Cry 1, it's Dance with the Devils, which kind of makes me a little bit saddened that Devils Never Cry from DMC3 it seems to sort of overtake it in some aspects. I mean, it's a decent song, but I don't know, Dance with the Devils just has a bit of more of an edge to it, and I can't help but love it, really. I mean, then again, like, I mean, to talk about the Devil May Cry 2 soundtrack as a whole, I mean, again, it is one of my favorites, really. Again, I go back and forth between DMC 1 and DMC 2 as my favorite, but yeah. Both excellent all-around, both in ambience, techno, and metal soundtracks. Yeah, which is kind of saddening, really. I mean, the Devil May Cry series as a whole does have some pretty excellent soundtracks, but, yeah, the only two games where I feel it was really weakened to any serious extent was, like, 4 and 5. 4 mainly in the sense that it was a little bit more forgettable, and 5, well, 5 had a lot of great remixes, but at the same time I also wasn't really too big of a fan of, well, a lot of its, original tracks, really. I mean, again, most of its main themes were pretty serviceable. I mean, again, I did enjoy Subhuman by Suicide Silence. I enjoyed V's theme. Devil Trigger I wasn't really a fan of because it just seemed a little bit too pop-oriented, but I suppose it fit Nero as, like, the new generation kid or whatever, I suppose. But yeah, anyway, to talk about the boss fight once again, yeah, this is the Nephis Captus. Basically, the head separated from the body, and it is still on the warpath to attack Dante. And again, makes great use out of your trickster abilities as you dodge out the way of its shots, not that you're really seeing it with my lackluster skills here. But yeah, we'll continue to spittle out its little shotgun blast launch, and yeah, you have a good chance to hit it, deal some serious pain. And again, overall, it's a boss fight with a lot of nice dynamics, and yeah, as you can see here, a lot of its lightning attacks as its secondary ability come a lot quicker than what they would otherwise do on normal mode, so... Again, it is a bit of a shame that a lot of people just judge this game based purely on the normal mode. I mean, its difficulty is there, it's just that they just didn't have a lot of chance to refine the game. I mean, again, a lot of people make fun of DMC too, but I don't know, I feel like a lot of that making fun is kind of misplaced. I mean, to me, it's more of a... I mean, there are a lot of shitty games out there that, you know, deserve a lot of people's eye. I mean, there's the sort of shitty games out there that, you know, that are developers trying their heart out, you know, in a Sonic 06, well, I suppose Superman 64 and even Devil May Cry 2 kind of way, where they did desperately want to make a good game, but publisher greed ended up completely screwing them over. Whereas, yeah, then you get games that absolutely nobody fucking wants, but still exist for some fucking reason. You know, sealed so you fucking Bubsy 3D or whatever. So, I mean, quite frankly, Devil May Cry 2 is more just, kind of saddening, really, as opposed to... You know, or memeing shitty games, and laughing at it too. Angry video game nerd parodies of a theme song. He is the game dude, he is so rude. He flees the courtroom when his court date is due. He's fled the country, and that is actually true. Look up, the game dude is actually kind of fucked up, actually, because he got done in for stalking. Well, referencing old internet reviewers who are responsible for criminal acts. I didn't expect Devil May Cry 2 to lead me down this path, but here we are. But yeah, that's also how you pull off the million stab. You basically do your 4-hit combo, and then pretty much hold the attack button while you're in Devil Trigger, and there you go, get the million stab. Devil May Cry 3 would later simplify this to basically just making it a part of the regular Stinger moveset, and thus making that, well, pretty much that game's version of Shoot to Win. So, on that note, I am Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and next time on the Devil May Cry 2 commentary, well, you're gonna be seeing the end result of what happens with the revelations we see right here, as, well, Lucia's gonna be in for some painful knowledge. Catch you next time.
Well, it appears that the defect is back.
Defect?
You are my creation.
Liar! Mathieu is my mother.
She merely found you when you were about to be disposed of, and then raised you as a soldier. Is that what you consider to be a mother?
No! I don't believe you.
Look. You have the mark on your shoulder. Proof that you're a mannequin. Kai. That is your real name. Now, give me the Arcanas. With them, my power will be complete, and I will become like the immortal Argosax. I will achieve absolute wisdom and transcend all. The world is already warped. Everything that belongs to the devils will eventually revert to its original form. Even you will betray your upbringing and turn on the humans. Accept.